Hi, everyone. Thanks for showing my presentation to listen to today. I'm going to be talking to you about fostering participation and public buy-in during the COVID-19 era. My name is Emily Dredeo. I am a project manager with Avenel Consultants, and I started my geodesign journey first when I got my bachelor's of science in biology, and then my master's of landscape architecture and working experience as a planner. So really my work blends in all of these different pillars of science, design, and planning to deliver value and science-driven and science-informed results to our clients. Avenue Consultants is a transportation and land development engineering company. We're located in Taylorsville, Utah, so in the greater Salt Lake City area. And our team has many different types of professionals, including not only planners, but engineers, surveyors, and a very robust public involvement team. To frame a little bit of the situation of what I'm going to talk to you about, I'll show you a little bit about the pandemic numbers here in Utah. And as you can see, our company is located in Salt Lake County, which is the highest, the county with the highest number of COVID cases in the state. But there's a lot of variation within the state, with the rural areas having, very little cases. So the way the pandemic has behaved, it's been very different from county to county here in Utah. And this was this project that I'm going to talk to you about as this case study. Really, it was here in Iron County, Southwest Utah, right here. And it had very different numbers and very different approaches to the pandemic that Salt Lake County did. So that was our the first thing that we encountered was, okay, the place we were located is dealing differently with the pandemic from the places our clients are located. But basically, all the framework of the project was dreamed before was established before the pandemic. So we had to think of strategies to keep it going, despite all the new regulations regarding gatherings and everything that was coming up our way. So to introduce you to the project is called the Cedar City and Enoch Transportation and Active Transportation Plans. And those are these two small rural towns with the population combined about like 40,000 people in Southwest Utah, in this rural county of Iron County in Utah. And we knew that because of COVID and all the new regulations, we were going to be having a lot less face-to-face interactions with the steering community and the public. So we thought, okay, our first action needs to be create a really robust online presence so people can keep up to date with the things that we're developing for the project. So we actually chose an ArcGIS experience platform to develop that instead of a story map or a hub. We thought that experience just brings it a little more flexibility. It looks a little more modern, so people will be, more excited to access the information. It also allows us to put so many more platforms into this one, website in a multi-page environment, and we were really looking into that. So that's why we chose Experience instead of some other platforms that could do similar things. But basically here we described the entire framework of the project. We posted the schedule, and we also made pages for existing conditions and places for people to provide feedback. Within, the existing conditions, we really wanted to have all this data, be available to their fingertips. So we just, instead of publishing PDF maps, we put all the data in an interactive format for them so they could see how we were getting, to the results that we were, how we were arriving to the results and how we were doing the process of analyzing the transportation networks in both Cedar City and Enoch. So that was one of our first steps. We launched this ArcGIS experience, And then after that, we started to dream of how our public interaction is going to be now that we can, be having a booth at the farmers market or be canvassing or something, at a public event. So we use a few different feedback platforms, and I just want to stress the fact that we wanted to keep most platforms within an Esri or ArcGIS Online suite, because all of these talk so well together, and we know that after the fact, after people are done providing feedback, it's really easy to download. We've done it in the past using 3 different platforms, like one for interactive map, another one for surveys, and another one for website. But this time we wanted to keep within all Esri, and it's proven to be really time saver. So one of the first feedback platforms that we used was an interactive map through crowdsourced polling tool, which is ArcGIS Solutions. That's how you access that, but it's available to you if you have ArcGIS Online and you don't have any coding experience to be able to make one of these. So these are basically, a map where folks can submit a specific location comment to the project team, and you're able to analyze it on the back end. Folks also have the option to click on the comments and like them and actually see what other folks wrote about that area. So all of these points you're looking, this is actually the map that we use for the project, and those are all the points that residents and visitors of Cedar City and Innick left there for us to help us plan for their transportation networks for the future. We also used online survey via Survey 123, and I really like Survey 123 because it really provides you a lot of flexibility with the type of questions, length of survey, and really allowed us to get exactly the answer that we wanted from the public. We also created a feedback hotline, so an actual phone number that folks that either don't have access to the internet or not very internet savvy, that they could call, and a member of our team would fill the survey for them and place pins on a map for them. And like most of you did, we transfer our meetings to online format, which initially we thought we were going to be losing more, but we actually found out that it started to be a bit more organized, and we could keep up with attendance and everything with it being on an online format. As most of you know, just creating these platforms, these maps, surveys, information hotline is not really useful if you don't spread the word. And I'm just going to share with you some of the platforms that we use to spread the word about our feedback platform. So the first one was social media, and it seems to be obvious, but the catch here is that instead of only sharing the website, the ArcGIS experience on the city's pages or the public pages, we contacted the mayor and we went directly to her to see if she could post on her personal page about the survey, and she did, and that really spiked a lot of interest from the citizens that went in like record numbers and filled out the survey. So that was really important, working with the people like that instead of just using the city or the general public platforms like Facebook or Twitter. So that was a big differentiator. We also, the cities also posted on their websites, under, there's other information that they have there. They put up like a call for action to answer the surveys and place pins on a map. A couple of online newspapers contacted us to write stories about the project, and they also put links on their articles, so that really generated some traffic on our end. And we also made physical flyers to post around town for areas that we knew folks might not have so much access to the internet, like maybe low-income areas or senior homes in places like that. So that flyer had the hotline number as well as our the address for our website, so folks could come and or call and provide feedback. Another thing that was really useful was coordinating with a local education institution, which was a Southern Utah University. And like community colleges and high schools, they just have the email list of all their students, so that on a matter of a click, they can send out like a call for survey, like very quickly. And we also got another second wave of really good responses after we contacted the university. The results were really exciting because we really didn't know how much engagement we were going to get without being face-to-face in these rural community towns. So we were surprised that we got over 500 of survey responses, 300 pins on a map, and over 1,300 views on our website. So you have an idea, we work with a lot of more urban towns, and that have maybe double the amount of people, and we usually get half of the engagement. So that was a really good surprise, and we're really excited with the engagement that we got. Within that survey, folks let us know that active transportation was on the forefront of their minds, that they were really excited and rated high in importance, both biking and walking. They also reported some barriers to active transportation in their communities. And, in a location in specific manner, which is like the magic of a lot of the platforms, the Esri platforms. So with that information in mind, we were able to really propose for a, very integrated and expanded active transportation network for both the city of Scenic. So we got the feedback directly helped us inform how we were going to plan the, the active transportation network for the towns. So that's geodesign in action right there. A few other strategies that, we didn't use on this example, on this project, but it could be useful for you in your communities is, distributing the flyers of the project or a little ad of your project on utility bills. That's super helpful. And usually free if you're coordinating with the city and the utility providers. Another thing that I've been seeing a lot recently is these like stencils all throughout town. This is not a project that we did, but here in Salt Lake City, there's, a few project teams, they are creating these stencils and putting it around town. So that really gets the message to people. They're now, being more outdoors and recreating outdoors. So that's it was in one of the trails next to my house. That's where I found it on the pavement. Good old, ads on local newspapers, magazines, and radio. That's a little more expensive, but the Utah Department of Transportation does a lot of that, and that's how I get a lot of the word on information on the project. So if your client or your institution has the power to do that, it's still not, it's still really, really powerful. Another idea that we had was about outdoor public meetings. And so instead of, creating a space and inviting people to come over, you actually set up in a place where people are already there and already feel safe recreating outside. So you're just meeting people where they are. So basically, if during warmer months on a weekend, you set up a few tables or easels and informational material out there, and people will come, maybe provide feedback, leave some sticky notes, or at least be made aware that there is a website and things like that. I think that would be would really increase engagement. And another one is just outdoor public intercept. So basically, you go you meet people where they are at trailheads and parks, and you have paper survey and you ask them questions and you fill out the survey there on the spot. That's another way to get that one-on-one feedback that it's missing these days with the pandemic. A few other lessons learned that we had is that unfortunately, we noticed that online public meetings or even indoors, like in-person, socially distanced public meetings are really not working these days. Like people are spending a lot of time in the computer, and they might have just fatigue for being, on the computer even more. So they're not showing up for the online public meetings, and they're not showing up for the socially distanced indoor public meetings. They're in person. They might seem excited at first, but the turnout seems to be really low. We are also very aware of survey fatigue. Even though we did a survey on our project and it was successful, we are just noticing that there's a lot of that going on. And the more you can keep your survey short and sweet and maybe use it only once or twice in your project might be, the best way to go. The most successful way to spread the word, like I said before, was contacting folks directly from the cities and towns, elected officials, mayors, city council members, anyone that you can think that has a high followership in social media. If they could spread the word, that's one of the best ways to get some feedback on your project. And last but not least, I know that with all the gathering restrictions and everything, it's really tempting to keep all your public involvement online, but just resist the urge to do that and try to at least do one or two things that takes you outside of the internet platform. So maybe using flyers with a hotline number or seeing if you can do the survey intersect. It's a better way, to make sure you're including more people, not just those folks that have access to the internet on their fingertips or they're very tech savvy. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this talk. I think that really we are learning a lot of lessons about how to keep up with, the public's ideas and their interests during the pandemic. So we're preparing for when things, if this happens again or worse things happen in the future, we're really building up this resiliency so we can keep up with folks regardless of what's happening out there, and we can continue to plan with them instead of planning at them. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed it.